Have you ever looked at someone who's wildly successful, wealthy, confident, seemingly unstoppable, thought, they're just lucky they were born with it, they must have had a head start? I never had. You're not alone. Most people believe that wealth is a matter of chance, that it happens by coincidence, by some cosmic accident, or simply by being at the right place at the right time. But here's the truth nobody talks about. Wealth is not luck. It's not coincidence. It's not something you stumble into. It's something you train for. You see, people will applaud your success, but they'll never witness your struggle. They won't see the sleepless nights where you battled self-doubt. They won't know about the mornings you woke up with nothing in your hands, no money, no guarantees, just a vision in your head and a fire in your heart. They'll see the car, the home, the lifestyle, but they'll never see the invisible war you fought to get there. Because real wealth doesn't respond to wishes. It doesn't obey hope. It bows to the mind that commands it with clarity, with discipline, with relentless belief. This isn't just about money. This is about who you become in the process. You weren't born to just get by. You weren't placed here just to survive or make ends meet. No, you were born to build, to rise, to shape reality, not simply react to it. And that shaping begins in your mind. It begins the moment you decide that your life is going to mean something. That you refuse to let your past define you. That you're done waiting for the world to hand you something and, instead, you're ready to create it. Let me say this loud and clear. The mind is not just where your thoughts live. It's where your future is built. If your mind is filled with distractions, fears, and stories about why you can't, then no amount of hard work will ever get you where you want to go. But when your mind is focused like a laser on what you want, who you want to become, and why it matters, you become unstoppable. This is not about becoming obsessed with money. It's about becoming obsessed with growth, with potential, with becoming the kind of person who wealth is drawn to it because of how you look or where you came from, but because of how you think. Take a moment and ask yourself this. What am I building with my thoughts right now? Because whether you realize it or not, you're always creating something. Every thought is a seed. Every belief is a blueprint. And every moment you choose to think small, to think in fear, in lack, in doubt, you are reinforcing a future you don't even want. But the good news, you can change it. You can train your mind to focus on abundance, clarity, and action. You can rewire your beliefs to align with the person you're becoming, not the one you've been. It doesn't take magic. It takes decision. And once you decide that your life is worth more, that your time is sacred, that your dreams matter more than your fears, that's when everything begins to shift. So if you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever felt like you're meant for more but can't quite see how to get there, start here with your mind. Because a trained mind becomes a magnet for success. It doesn't chase wealth, it attracts it. It doesn't beg for opportunity, it creates it. It doesn't wait for permission, it moves with purpose. You weren't born to be average. You were born to lead, to create, to leave a mark. And it all begins in the space between your ears. So let's get to work. Train your mind, sharpen your thoughts, and prepare to step into the version of you that the world has been waiting for. Because once your mind is aligned, focused, and unshakable, wealth isn't a maybe, it becomes inevitable. Let's set the record straight. You don't chase wealth. You become the person wealth can't help but find. That's the shift. That's the secret. That's the truth most people miss entirely. See, most of us were raised to believe that success is something out there, something you pursue, something you hope will happen if you work hard enough or play your cards right. But here's the real breakthrough. Wealth isn't something you pursue. It's something you attract by becoming someone who deserves it. Think of it like this. You don't chase butterflies, you create a garden that makes them stay. In the same way, you don't hustle yourself into the ground trying to get rich. You build a mindset, a character, and a daily discipline that pulls wealth toward you naturally, magnetically, consistently. And that begins in one place: your thoughts. Let's rewind history for a second. Carnegie didn't just build a steel empire by chance. He believed that before anyone else that steel would shape the future. And that thought, that conviction, became the foundation of an empire. Edison failed over 10,000 times before inventing the light bulb. He wasn't insane. He had a thought: darkness doesn't have to win. He trained his mind to see possibility, not just problems. Henry Ford looked at a world where cars were only for the rich and said, why not for the everyday person? That thought changed transportation forever. Every one of these men had different backgrounds, but they had one thing in common. They didn't wait for wealth to train their mind to create it. And so must you. Your mind is not a storage unit, it's the control center. It's the operating system of your life. If that system is filled with fear, with self-doubt, with "I'm not enough," it doesn't matter how much you hustle. That system will sabotage you every single time. But if you fill that system with belief, with clarity, with purpose, you become unstoppable. Here's the part most people get wrong. They think that if they just work harder, they'll earn success. And don't get me wrong, hard work matters. But if your inner world is wired for lack, wired for fear, wired for limitation, all that hard work is like pouring water into a bucket full of holes. So let me ask you this: what's your mind filled with? Are your thoughts full of scarcity or strategy? Are you asking, "Why is this so hard?" Or are you asking, "Who do I need to become to rise above this?" Because real wealth is a mirror. It reflects who you are, not just what you do. If your identity is rooted in survival, in just getting by, then wealth will avoid you even if it brushes past you once or twice. But if your identity is built on vision, on discipline, on ownership, wealth will find you again and again. So how do you start? Start by shifting your self-image. Start seeing yourself as a builder, a creator, a person of value. Speak it, live it, own it before the results show up. Because that's how results are created: internally first, externally later. Let me give you something practical. Every morning, before you check your phone, before the chaos of the world kicks in, sit in silence. For 5 minutes. Ask yourself, what kind of person am I becoming today? What kind of thoughts would that person think? How would they carry themselves? What choices would they make? Not just big ones, but small ones. And then live as that person. Today. Not next year. Not someday, but today. Why? Because when you act in alignment with your vision, you don't have to wait for wealth. You're already living the mindset that creates it. Think of it like tuning a radio. If you're broadcasting fear, insecurity, and chaos, don't be surprised when that's what shows up. But if you're tuned to clarity, purpose, and value, you start attracting opportunities, people, and results that match that frequency. This isn't magic, it's mindset. This isn't hype, it's alignment. Let me share a personal truth. The biggest breakthroughs in my life didn't come when I finally had enough money. They came when I finally believed I was someone who could create it. When I stopped waiting and started building. When I stopped asking for permission and started claiming my vision. That's what I want for you. You don't need to chase success like it's running away from you. You need to turn inward and ask, who am I becoming? Because the moment you shift your focus from chasing wealth to becoming worthy of it, your entire life begins to transform. Not someday. Now, let's talk about the most powerful tool you have in your entire life. Your mind. Not your resume. Not your savings account. Not even your network. It's your mind. And just like your body, your mind must be trained daily. You wouldn't expect your muscles to grow if you went to the gym once a month, right? So why do so many people expect their mindset to be strong when they never condition it? Look, if you want to attract success, fulfillment, wealth, whatever it is you're after, it starts with how you train your mind. Every single day. Let me walk you through something simple but transformative. Step 1. Own your mornings. Your morning is sacred. Before the emails come flooding in. Before the news tells you what to fear. Before social media tempts you with comparison. You have a window of time where your mind is fresh. It's open. It's listening. That's the moment you build it or you break it. So instead of grabbing your phone, start your day with power. Wake up early not because it's trendy, but because it gives you control. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. Breathe. Be still. Ask yourself, what do I want to feel today? Who do I want to be? And then declare it out loud. I am focused. I am strong. I am building my future. And today, I choose to lead. That might sound simple, but don't underestimate the power of repetition. Repetition is how your brain rewires. It's how new beliefs get installed. Most people let their mornings be invaded by noise. But you become the kind of person who starts the day with intention, not reaction. Step 2. Tune your frequency. Here's something most schools never taught us. Wealth is a frequency. And your mind is the transmitter. Every thought you think is sending out a signal. Fear or faith. scarcity or abundance, self-doubt or self-command. The question is, what station are you tuned to? Because if you're constantly thinking, I can't afford that, I'm not qualified, that's too good for people like me, guess what kind of life you're attracting? Now, this isn't about fantasy thinking. This is about understanding how your subconscious filters reality. If your dominant thoughts are filled with limitation, you'll miss opportunities when they're right in front of you. But when you shift that mental channel to abundance, you start noticing solutions. You spot possibilities others overlook. You stop shrinking yourself and start showing up like someone who belongs in the room. That's what wealth mindset people do. They don't look at the world and say, can I afford this? They ask, how can I create this? They don't say, why is this so hard? They say, what skill do I need to solve this? That shift in frequency. That's where real transformation begins. Step 3. Delete the scarcity virus. Let's be real. Scarcity is a mental virus. And it spreads with language like, I can't. That's impossible. People like me don't get that. That's too much. I'm not ready. Even when said jokingly, those phrases train your brain to expect less, to believe less, to receive less. So from today on, I want you to become your own thought bodyguard. Every time a scarcity thought shows up, stop it at the door. Challenge it. Replace it. Instead of, I can't afford that, say, how can I generate the value to make that possible? Instead of, I don't have time, say, what must I prioritize to move forward? You don't need to be perfect, but you must be aware. Because if your thoughts are the seeds, then your words are the water. Don't water weeds. Make it a daily practice. Let me tell you something that changed my life. Success doesn't show up from what you do occasionally. It's a result of what you do consistently. Just like brushing your teeth, mental training isn't something you skip when you feel tired. It becomes a non-negotiable. So write this down. 5 minutes of silence to set your intention. 3 affirmations that reflect the person you're becoming. 1 bold question. What do I need to focus on today that gets me closer to my vision? That's your daily gym for the mind. It's not complicated, but it's powerful. Final thought. You are always programming something. Here's the truth: your mind is never neutral. It's either being programmed by you, or it's being programmed by everything around you: the news, your past, social media, people who've given up. And I'll be honest, if you don't take control of your thoughts, someone else will. So ask yourself this: am I living on autopilot? Or am I designing my direction? Am I reacting to life? Or am I choosing who I become? Because the difference between a life of survival and a life of success, it lives in how you train your mind. Every single day. If you want to transform your life radically and permanently, it's not enough to hope. It's not enough to work harder. It's not even enough to want more. You've got to believe, think, and act like the person you're becoming bare any evidence appears. Let that sink in. You have to become the future version of yourself mentally, long before the world catches up. Let me tell you a story you probably heard before, but I want you to hear it with new ears. Thomas Edison, the man credited with inventing the light bulb, failed over 10,000 times before he succeeded. 10,000 times. Now imagine this. What if Edison had quit at try number 2,537? Or 6,489? What if he said, maybe this just isn't meant to be? We'd still be sitting in the dark. But here's the thing people overlook. Edison wasn't just persistent. He was clear. He had a vision in his mind that was stronger than the doubts in his environment. He didn't hope light could be created, believed it. And that belief gave birth to one of the greatest inventions of all time. And he's not alone. Walt Disney, one of the greatest storytellers in his story, was told he lacked imagination. He was fired from a newspaper job for not being creative enough. He went bankrupt. He was rejected by banks. He was laughed out of boardrooms. And yet, he held in his mind the image of a magical place. A place where families could laugh, dream, and imagine together. Disneyland. That place existed in his mind long before a single brick was laid. So what about you? What's the vision you're holding? And here's the more important question. Is it clear? Because here's the truth most people miss. Clarity is the starting point of power. It's not enough to say, I want to be rich. That's vague. That's noise. Real clarity sounds like this. I want to earn $150,000 a year through my online business, working with clients who inspire me, while living in a home by the coast where I can hear the waves in the morning and cook breakfast with my kids. You see the difference? One is a hope. The other is a blueprint. When your vision is sharp, your mind has something to aim for. And when your mind has a target, it starts to filter information, make decisions, and attract opportunities that align with that vision. But if your vision is fuzzy, your results will be too. Let me be blunt. The world doesn't reward vague desires. It rewards conviction, precision, alignment. Which brings me to one of the most overlooked principles of wealth. The wealthy act like they belong long before they have the proof. Let me explain. Most people wait for their bank account to grow before they give themselves permission to think like a success. But the wealthy, they reverse it. They think like creators, leaders, investors even when their account is sitting at zero. They speak with confidence, move with certainty, and make decisions based on where they're going, not where they are. Why? Because wealth isn't just numbers. It's a reflection, a mirror of your internal standards. Let me ask you, do you act like someone who manages wealth well even if it hasn't arrived yet? Do you carry yourself with discipline, vision, and ownership? Or are you still waiting for proof before you believe in yourself? Because if you don't believe in the life you're building, why should anyone else? Here's something personal. There was a time in my life when I was just surviving. Bills piling up, goals written down but never achieved. I kept waiting for a sign, waiting for conditions to be just right before I really committed. And then one day, I realized I had it backwards. The sign I was waiting for was me. I had to start acting like the person I claimed I wanted to become. And once I did, my world began to shift. It didn't happen overnight, but step by step, I began aligning my thinking, my actions, and my beliefs. I started writing out my goals in detail. I began saying no to distractions and yes to structure. I stopped asking, is this realistic? And started asking, how can I create it? And you know what happened? Momentum. Doors opened. People appeared. Ideas flowed. Not because I got lucky, but because I got clear. So here's the takeaway. Your beliefs shape your thoughts. Your thoughts shape your actions. And your actions shape your future. If you want to change your life, start where it matters most, the way you see yourself. Do you see someone who survives? Or someone who builds? Do you see someone hoping? Or someone owning? You cannot outperform your own self-image. But the good news, you can upgrade it. Today. Right now. So stop waiting for the evidence. Be the evidence. Walk with clarity. Speak with certainty. Act with intention. Because when belief, mindset, and action align, there's nothing you can't build. Let me tell you something powerful. You will never rise above the image you hold of yourself in your mind. That may sound simple, but it's one of the most overlooked truths in personal growth. Because it doesn't matter how many books you read, how many hours you work, or how many goals you write down. If your internal belief says, I'm not enough, or I don't deserve it, you will find a way to sabotage every breakthrough before it sticks. So today, I want to talk to you about 3 things that shape everything: your environment, your standards, and your self-image. Let's start with your mindset. Your thoughts are not just passing ideas floating around your head. They are architects, builders, silent forces shaping your entire reality. If you constantly think, I'm not smart enough, I don't have what it takes, people like me don't win, then that becomes your operating system. It's like trying to build a skyscraper on a cracked foundation. It doesn't matter how beautiful your blueprint is if the ground can't support it. So I want you to start replacing those low vibration thoughts with powerful declarations. Not vague affirmations you don't believe yet, but intentional declarations that speak to who you are becoming. I am worthy of success. I am capable of building something extraordinary. I am growing into the version of myself that can handle greatness. Say them daily, out loud, especially when your brain pushes back. Why? Because your mind will always default to its strongest program. And repetition is how you write a new one. Now let's talk about a trap many people fall into. Thinking that more hard work alone will fix everything. I know. We live in a culture that glorifies the grind. The 16-hour days. The never-stop mentality. And don't get me wrong, for it matters. Discipline matters. But here's the catch. You can't hustle your way out of a scarcity mindset. You can't outwork a belief system that says, I'm not good enough, or I'll always be behind. You can do all the work in the world, but if your thoughts are filled with fear, doubt, and survival, you'll stay stuck in the same cycle, just working harder inside of it. What you need is a mindset upgrade. You need to uninstall the mental software that was written by fear, failure, and other people's opinions, and reinstall the truth. You are the creator of your reality. You're not a victim of your past. You're not a slave to your circumstances. You're a builder, a designer, a leader, and every day, with every thought, you are programming what comes next. So ask yourself, are my thoughts moving me forward or holding me back? And that brings us to one of the most critical components of personal transformation: self-image. Here's what I need you to understand. You can never outperform the mental picture you hold of yourself. It doesn't matter if someone gives you $1 million. If deep down, you see yourself as unworthy or incapable, that money will vanish. You'll find a way to lose it, sabotage it, or avoid it altogether. Best it doesn't match your internal identity. This is why lottery winners often go broke. They received wealth on the outside, but never upgraded who they were on the inside. So what's the solution? You must visualize the version of you who already has what you want. You must see yourself as the person who leads with confidence. You must feel what it's like to be financially free, mentally strong, and emotionally grounded. Close your eyes and walk through your future life like it already exists. What kind of decisions are you making? Who are you surrounded by? How do you carry yourself? What kind of impact are you making? Do this every day. And don't just visualize the results, visualize the process. See yourself waking up early, working on your craft, saying no to distractions, showing up even when it's hard. Because that's where the real power lives. Not just in dreaming, but in training your mind to expect more from itself. And yes, environment matters too. You can't grow into your best self while surrounded by people who constantly play small. If you're in a room where everyone thinks success is for other people, where negativity is normal and dreams are mocked, then it's time to change rooms. You become who you spend the most time with. So get around people who stretch you, who challenge you, who reflect back the greatness you haven't even fully tapped into yet. That doesn't mean you cut off everyone in your life. It means you protect your mind like a castle. Because what enters your mind enters your life. Let's recap. Your thoughts shape your results. You can't grind your way past bad beliefs. You must see yourself as powerful before the world does. And your environment must support your elevation, not suppress it. You want to build something that lasts. Start here, inside, with how you think, who you become, and what you're willing to believe is possible. Because once you shift your inner world, your outer world has no choice but to follow. Let me ask you a tough question. Are you building your life, or just buying into someone else's? It's so easy to get caught up in the consumer trap. We scroll, we shop, we react. We chase the next trend, the next dopamine hit, the next shiny object. And before we know it, we're working to maintain a life we didn't even design, one we consumed by default. But here's the truth. You were not put on this planet to consume, you were built to create. There's a massive difference between the two. A consumer asks, what can I buy to feel better? A creator asks, what can I build to make things better? Which one are you? Because make no mistake, every powerful, fulfilled, and wealthy person you admire today, they made the switch. They stopped consuming just to fill a void and started creating to fill a purpose. Let's break this down. When Andrew Carnegie built his steel empire, he didn't ask, how much money can I make this year? He asked, how can I build a system, a structure, a force that brings value to millions? That shift in question is what separates those who chase checks from those who create wealth. Real wealth doesn't come from asking, what can I earn this month? It comes from asking, what problem can I solve at scale? What can I build that outlives me? And no, you don't need to be a billionaire to think this way. You can be a teacher, an artist, a coach, a tradesman, a single parent with a side hustle. The principle is universal. Wealth is created by those who build. So let me ask you, what are you building? Is it a business? A body of work? A life philosophy you're passing down to your children? A system that serves others while freeing your time? Or are you caught in the loop of consuming without creating? Here's what most people don't realize. Wealth is not a reward. It's a responsibility. And it only stays in the hands of those who are prepared to carry it. You don't just get rich and call it a day. You grow into wealth by developing the capacity to manage it, multiply it, and use it wisely. That means building emotional strength so you don't fall apart under pressure, developing discipline so you don't waste what you've earned, expanding your skills so you stay valuable and relevant, and most importantly, adopting the mindset of a creator, not just a consumer. Let me make this really practical for you. A consumer says, "I want that car. I want that watch. I want to go on that vacation." But a creator says, "What system can I build that pays for that car while still serving others? What can I offer that adds value and funds that lifestyle? What solution can I create that makes money work for me, not the other way around?" It's not about denying yourself joy or experiences. It's about earning them through purpose-centered impulse. Because let's be real, consumption can be a distraction, a delay, a way to numb the feeling that deep down you were made for more. But creation? That's where your power is. When you create, you step into alignment with the reason you're here. You use your mind, your voice, your heart, your hands to leave something behind. And isn't that what we all want? To know that we didn't just pass through this world silent libet, that we built something that mattered. So today, I want you to challenge the default. The next time you find yourself scrolling mindlessly, stop and ask, what can I create right now that will move my life forward? The next time you feel tempted to buy something just to feel better, pause and ask, what can I build today that brings me long-term joy? This is not about deprivation. It's about direction. When you live as a creator, life stops being a series of reactions and starts becoming a journey of intention. You build routines. You build skills. You build connections. You build impact. You build wealth that means something. And yes, it takes time. It takes patience. It takes vision. But it also gives you back something that consumption never will. A deep sense of ownership over your life. Let me wrap it up with this. Consumption is easy. Creation takes courage. Consumption ends the moment you get it. Creation keeps giving long after you've built it. Consumption is temporary. Creation builds legacy. So if you've been stuck in survival mode, if you've been reacting, coping, waiting for your chance to come, this is your wake-up call. Stop asking, what can I get? Start asking, what can I build? And when you start creating, really creating, you'll be amazed at how quickly life starts responding to your energy. Because the world doesn't need more consumers. It needs more creators like you. Let's get real for a moment. We live in a world obsessed with quick wins, quick money, quick results, quick success stories on your Instagram feed with a before and after, but never the messy middle in between. But let me tell you something the world won't say loud enough. Wealth is not built in moments of hype. It's built in moments of discipline. In the quiet, boring, often unseen repetitions that the average person avoids. It's not sexy. It's not glamorous. But it's the truth. The real winners. They fall in love with the process. They don't chase the heist, they build the habits. Because here's the harsh reality. Success is not a highlight reel. It's a rhythm. Let that sink in. Success is a rhythm of consistent decisions day after day, when no one's clapping, when no one's watching, and when motivation has packed up and left for the weekend. It's waking up early when you don't feel like it. It's showing up to your goals when nobody's checking. It's doing the right thing, even when the easy thing is begging for your attention. Now let me ask you, how many times have you given up because it got repetitive? Because the excitement wore off? Because it didn't feel magical anymore? That's the moment most people quit. But that's also the exact moment where champions are made. See, the people who build long-term wealth, whether financially, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually, they're not just motivated. They're disciplined. They don't rely on mood. They rely on standards. And when you build your life on standards instead of feelings, you become unstoppable. Now, let's talk about mastery. Most people want the outcome, but they don't want the depth. They want recognition, but they don't want repetition. They want to be praised, but they don't want to practice. But here's the truth the top 1% live by. If you become masterful, you become irreplaceable. And the market will always pay a premium for the irreplaceable. Think about it. The world doesn't need another average coach, artist, or entrepreneur. It needs someone who's exceptional at what they do. Someone who's crafting their skill like a sculptor with a chisel day in, day out. That kind of excellence doesn't happen by chance. It happens by design, by discipline, by refusing to settle for good enough. Let me give you something to reflect on. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, every time you say no to momentary pleasure for long-term purpose, every time you show up for your routine when no one is clapping, you are building something that cannot be taken from you. Because money can come and go, status can fade, trends will pass, but who you become through daily discipline, that lasts. That's legacy. And here's where most people break: they crave instant gratification. They want the result without the repetition, the glory without the grind, the transformation without the time. But if you're here, watching this, I know that's not you. Because you're not here to play small. You're here to go deep, to go far, to go all in. So let me remind you of something powerful. Discipline is not punishment. It's preparation. Every time you choose structure over chaos, every time you quiet your excuses and move forward anyway, you're tuning your mind to the frequency of success. You're building the mental muscle that makes wealth not just possible, but inevitable. And this isn't about deprivation. This is about creation. It's about designing a life where your habits work for you, not against you. Where your decisions reflect the future you're building, not the comfort you're clinging to. Let me give you something practical to anchor this. Next time you're tempted to skip a step in your routine, ask yourself, is this decision moving me closer to mastery or further away? That one question can shift everything. Because here's the deal. Mastery isn't built on occasional intensity. It's built on daily consistency. It's brushing your craft like your teeth, non-negotiable, not negotiable. It's doing what matters especially when you don't feel like it. And if you commit to it even for the next 90 days, you'll be amazed at how quickly your identity begins to shift. Not because you forced change, but because you became someone new through repetition. That's the real secret of wealth. It's not the car, the house, the lifestyle. It's the person you have to become to handle those things with grace, impact, and purpose. So as we close this chapter, let me leave you with this. Discipline is your greatest asset. Mastery is your greatest leverage. Consistency is your greatest weapon. Don't just chase moments. Build a movement within yourself. And when you do, wealth stops being something you reach for. It becomes something you naturally attract because now you've earned it. There comes a moment in every life where everything changes. It's not the day you get a new job, or the day you win an award, or even the day you hit a financial milestone. No, the moment everything changes is the day you decide. Not I want this. Not I hope this happens. But I will. No matter what. That's the turning point. That's when you stop dipping your toes in the water and start walking with conviction. Because here's the truth. The world doesn't respond to hesitation. It responds to boldness, to unwavering faith, to someone who has already made up their mind long before the results show up. You don't need more time. You don't need another degree. You don't need permission from anyone. What you need is unshakable belief. Belief that you are capable. Belief that you are worthy. Belief that the vision in your mind is there for a reason and that reason is to be built, brick by brick, through you. I've seen this over and over again. The people who create extraordinary wealth and impact, they don't wait for perfect conditions. They decide that their dream is non-negotiable. And that decision fuels them through every obstacle. Think about it. When you act like a wealthy person, not just in money, but in mindset, discipline, and vision, wealth has no choice but to find you. It's drawn to you because you've already aligned with it. You've already claimed it internally before the world has seen it. But here's what I need you to remember: this isn't just about thinking positively. It's about training your mind like software. If your brain is the operating system of your life, what program are you running? Is it filled with fear, self-doubt, and distractions? Or is it designed for clarity, focus, and abundance? If you want to upgrade your life, start by upgrading the program. How? 3 steps. Step 1. Declare your power daily. Your words shape your world. Every morning, I want you to say out loud statements that align with your future self. I am focused. I am unstoppable. I am building something extraordinary. You might feel silly at first, but repetition is how you rewire your brain. Say it enough times, and your mind starts believing it. And when you believe it to live it. Step 2. Visualize with precision. Stop saying vague things like, I want to be rich. What does that even mean? Be specific. Be detailed. What does your ideal life look like? Where do you wake up? What does your day feel like? Who are you with? What kind of work or business are you building? How much money is in your account, and what purpose does it serve? See it so clearly in your mind that your brain can't tell the difference between vision and reality. Because when your subconscious believes it's already true, your actions will start aligning to make it real. Step 3. Eliminate noise and elevate your circle. You can't grow while drowning in distractions. Turn down the noise. Turn off the constant negativity news, the toxic opinions, the doubts of people who gave up on themselves. Instead, surround yourself with thinkers, doers, builders, people who live in possibility, not limitation. Because energy is contagious. The right circle can elevate you faster than you ever imagined, while the wrong one can hold you hostage for years. Now, here's the final truth I want you to remember. You are the creator of your destiny, not your past, not your boss, not the economy. You. When you decide with absolute conviction that your life will rise, that your future will expand, and that nothing will stop you, the universe begins to move in your favor. Not because of luck, but because you've stepped into alignment with your own power. It's not about waiting anymore. It's about building. It's about speaking. It's about acting like the person you've always known you could be. So let me ask you this: what's your decision today? Not your hope, not your wish, your decision. Because one decision can rewrite your story. One decision can shift you from someday to today is the day. And once you've made that decision, once you've locked in and refused to retreat, everything changes. Wealth becomes normal. Effort becomes joy. Purpose becomes profit. And life stops happening to you and starts happening through you. So here's what I want you to do. Wake up tomorrow and declare your vision. Visualize it until you can see it in color. Guard your mind like it's your greatest asset because it is. Repeat this every single day until it's no longer something you're hoping for. It becomes who you are. Because when your mind becomes wealthy, the world will have no choice but to catch up. This is your time. This is your moment. Decide and the rest will follow. Let me leave you with something that might just change the way you see everything. Wealth is not a destination. It's not some number you finally hit, some house you finally buy, or a lifestyle you eventually achieve. Wealth is a state of being. It's a mindset. It's how you show up in the world every single day. It's how you carry yourself, speak about your life, and handle challenges not when things are perfect, but when they're hard. Because here's what most people don't understand. You don't get wealthy and then become someone who feels powerful. You become powerful first. You start thinking differently, acting differently, and then the results start to catch up. The bank account. That's the reflection. The real wealth. It starts inside. So the real question isn't, how do I make more money? It's, how do I step into the version of me who already owns their value? Because once you do that, you decide that you are done playing small, done waiting for permission, done living below your potential. Your world begins to rearrange itself. Opportunities start showing up. Ideas start flowing. People start responding to your energy differently. Not because anything magical has happened, but because you made one powerful decision. A decision that says, I'm not just going to wish for better, I'm going to become better. I'm not just going to dream, I'm going to design. I'm not just going to survive, I am going to lead. That decision, that's the spark. And once it's lit, everything changes. You begin to carry yourself with certainty and arrogance, but clarity. You start investing your time and energy like someone who knows their future is valuable. You begin saying no to the things that keep you stuck and yes to the uncomfortable actions that move you forward. And let me be clear, this doesn't happen once. It's not a single moment of motivation. This is daily work. You wake up each morning and choose to think like a creator. You look yourself in the mirror and remind your mind who's in charge. I am worthy. I am capable. I am building something that matters. You visualize your goals not just as ideas, but as realities your brain begins to believe in. You reprogram your mind every day not with magic, but with intention. Not with hype, but with repetition. Because repetition isn't just how we remember, it's how we become. And yes, this is science, not fantasy. Your brain is always rewiring, always adapting, and it responds to what you feed it consistently. The more you repeat a belief, the more it becomes your default. Not because it's been proven, but because your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's repeated. So here's the challenge I leave with you. Make this your new normal. Speak it every day. Walk it every day. Feel it in your bones until the world around you starts to reflect it back. Because wealth isn't waiting for you out there. It's waiting for you to become the kind of person who lives in alignment with it. And the moment you make that choice, the moment you say, I will no longer operate from fear, from lack, from limitation, that's when life starts rising to meet you. Not because the journey gets easier, but because you get stronger. Not because obstacles disappear, but because you stop backing down from them. So if you're watching this right now, let this be your line in the sand. From this moment forward, you are no longer hoping. You are choosing. You are becoming. You are owning your identity. Not someday. Today. You are not chasing wealth, you are becoming the kind of person who attracts it. And when that happens, the question will no longer be, will I succeed? The only question left will be, how far can I go?